Okay, so we're going to install the Django, but I don't want to just put it anywhere. So the first thing I'll do is change folders and go into my desktop. And then there I'll create a new folder that we'll put our project in. Now I'm in Linux Mint, so in Linux I can just go into my terminal and type in CD, which stands for change directory, and the directory I want to go into, which is my desktop. So I'll just type in CD desktop. And I'm going to name the folder for my project Smut, because we're going to build the website Smutsia. So I'll say mkdir smut. Now I'm going to change directories again and go into the directory I just created, the smut directory, by typing in cd smut. Now, once inside this directory here, the smut directory, what we want to do is we're going to create a virtual environment. The virtual environment, its job is to keep our code separate from the rest of the code that's on our computer. So we don't want this code getting mixed in with another project's code or with our computer code, because different projects and different computers use different versions, and it can mess up a project if they're all getting linked together. So the way we're going to create a virtual environment, and you can name it anything you want, but the way you create, you say Python 3-M, venv, and the name of the environment. And again, you can name it anything you want. Mine, I'm going to name mine env. And now what we want to do is to activate it so that it's protecting our code and keeping everything separate. So what we'll do is we'll type in source env/bin/activate. And you know it's activated because you've got the parentheses in the front of the name now. Now what we're going to do is install pip, and pip is a management system for downloading and uploading packages with Python. So what we'll do now is we'll just type in the terminal, we'll say pip install -- upgrade pip. And now that we've got pip installed, we can install the Django. Now I can install different versions of the Django by putting the version number after the Django. But for this project, we're just going to use the latest version of the Django. And we can get the latest version just by saying pip install the Django. The next file I want to take a look at is the settings.py file. If you scroll down, you'll see an installed apps section. This is how you let the system know about any new apps that you've got installed. And by default, it comes with some apps already installed. If you look right here under the default apps, we've got the Django Contrib admin, the Django Contrib auth, the Django Contrib content types, the Django Contrib sessions, Django Contrib messages, and the Django Contrib static files. Now, since I'm using the terminal, I can create more than one directory at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a templates folder, an apps folder, a static folder, and a media folder all at the same time by typing in make directory templates apps media-p./static/image. What I'm telling it is to create a folder called templates, a folder called apps and media, and then create a parent starting here in this folder called static with a child folder called image. Okay, when it comes to the template layout, you've got a couple ways you could go. One way is you create the template inside the app. Whenever you have, say you've got a web design project, say you create a blog and a shopping cart, and then you've got a customer who wants a blog. Now you can grab this app that you've got that's the blog, and you can just plug it into his website. Now, one way to do it would be to put your apps inside, your templates inside your apps. This way, when you hand him when you put the website over there, the design is with it. However, the problem with that is this design may not match the template of the website. So it's a better way to do it would be to put your templates in one folder, and then your programming and everything else in another folder, your apps in their own app folder. And then that way, if you want to change designs, you just change the template folder and you change the design for the entire website, everything, the blogs, the shopping cart, everything, just by changing one file, the templates file. You change the entire design layout, the way it works and everything else. So that's the layout we're going to go with. We're going to go with the folder being outside the apps and putting all of our app designs inside the same template folder. Now, the static folder we just created, this is a folder that the Django uses. The Django goes out and they look for the static folder, and inside the static folder, they're looking for your images, your CSS, your Java, and so on. That's supposed to be inside the static folder. Now, what I want to do is I want to go inside my SRC folder. So I'm going to say CD SRC, because what we're going to do, now what I want to do is split the settings.py file into a production and a development file. That way we can keep our code clean and we can separate the things that we're going to do offline from the things that we're going to do when we're in production. So we're going to make a new folder. We're going to call it settings, and we're going to say mkdir settings. And now what we want to do is we want to go into that settings folder we just created. So we're going to say cd settings. And we've got to have the init.py file here. So we're going to say touch, and then we're going to say __ init__.py. Now what I want to do is create a development and a production folder. But instead of calling it development and production, because that's a very long thing, what we're going to do is we're going to create a base, a dev, and a pro. The base is going to be the things that are the same in both of them. The dev will be development, and the pro will be production. So the way I'll do this is I'll go into the terminal and I'll type in touch, and then do the brackets, and I'll say base, dev, pro, and then we'll, on the outside of the curly bracket, I'll say .py. Devs for development and pro for production. So what I want to do now is I want to CD back out. I need to get to my main.py file. So I'll say cd ... // and that's telling it to go back a folder. So what I'm doing now is I'm going back to that other folder. And now what we want to do is we want to go into our settings.py file. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the comments. So we've got a file so we see exactly where everything is. Because this thing's going to get really big as we build this thing out. So we want to try and break it into different files as well as clean it up so it's not so big to start with. Okay, now that we've removed all the comments, we're going to take all the content from the settings.py and paste it into the base.py. Then we're going to copy the debug equals true and allowed host equals nothing. And we're going to remove those from the base.py and post those in the dev and the pro, because that's going to be different when it goes live. So we'll have two different things here. So we need to tell the Django where to find the rest of the information at. So what we're going to do at the top of the dev and pro is we're going to say from.base import, and then we'll have a star there that tells it to import everything from that area from the base into this script. Since we moved our settings.py into a settings folder and changed the name to dev and pro, we need to let the Django know about this change. And the way we go about doing that is by going into the manage.py and adding .dev to the end of the cart turbo.settings. When we go into production, we'll need to change that to .pro.